Bibliophiles of the Internet. My name is Adriana, and today I'm here to bring you my February wrap-up. I just want to start by saying I had a great theme in mind for this month. Dare I say a brilliant theme that I was very much excited for, and I fully intended to do Frightening February, which would give me license to read creepy, dark things in the month of February and maybe get caught up on some books that I had wanted to read in October but never got the chance to get around to. It was going to be a great thing. I had it all planned out. And then it very quickly fell apart. A little book called King's Rising came out on the second day of February, and I am not in any way exaggerating when I say my life was completely derailed after that. So Frightening February never even got off the ground, and after I read King's Rising, like I said, it completely fell apart and turned into what I am now calling Feel Like It February, or alternatively, All the Feels February. Let's just say I was in a great deal of pain after finishing King's Rising, and I didn't know what to do with myself or what I should read next, so my method of choosing books was just to ask myself a couple of questions, namely, which book is going to hurt me the most right now, and which book should I not, under any circumstances, be reading in my current emotional state. Then I would reflect, come up with an answer, and then I would read that book. That's pretty much how my month went, so I think we should just get started. Obviously, the very first book I read in February was King's Rising by C.S. Pacat. This is the third and final book in the Captive Prince trilogy. I've talked about this trilogy a great deal on my channel numerous times, and I did an entire spoiler-free discussion/review for this entire trilogy, which I will link down below in case you want to see that. It was a brilliant ending to the trilogy, and I enjoyed it immensely. To even say that I enjoyed it is a massive, massive understatement, because I don't think I've ever been as emotionally invested in a set of characters or in a story like this ever before in my life. The tension in this book was higher than ever, which I didn't even think was possible after reading the first two books, and I just think it delivered in so many ways that I could have never even anticipated. So that was such a pleasant surprise, and I just think it was a great ending overall. And of course, it caused me so much pain. It really was an all-encompassing reading experience for me that took over my entire life and took over every facet of my life. I was so focused on this book for like the 2 days that I read it, and I was just emotionally drained by the end of it. And of course, I mean that in the best way possible. To say this book was good is to not do it justice. It caused me a tremendous amount of pain that I felt deep in my bones and in my soul, and it also caused me happiness to that same level, but all at the same time. So naturally, I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. After that, as I said, I thought to myself, what book should I absolutely, for no reason whatsoever, be reading right now in my current emotional state? Which book would hurt me the most if I read it right now? And I could only think of one answer. So I did a very bad thing, and I reread The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. I really feel like I shouldn't have to summarize this book anymore. You should all know what it's about. You should have all read it by now, but that's besides the point. This is a retelling of the Iliad, and it's also queer-lit because it follows the developing and evolving romance between Achilles and Patroclus, or Patroklos, however you want to say his name. I'm not going to lose sleep over it. All of you at some point have heard me gushing about this book. I've talked about it so much. I've recommended it so much. I have pushed it on so many people relentlessly. It's one of my favorite books in the entire world, and I think there's very good reason for that. We don't even have to talk about the writing style or the prose, which is debilitatingly beautiful. It's ethereal, it's emotionally evocative, it's all of these things. But even more than that, I just love that this story brings a new layer of complication and texture and emotion to an ancient text. Like the original version of the Iliad is, of course, dramatic, but this version makes it personal, and it makes it so much more emotional, and I just really love that it can even accomplish that. And I really admire how Madeline Miller is able to balance so many complex elements throughout the entire story as well, almost effortlessly so, and how she's able to weave a consistent thread of romance throughout the entirety of the book, but it's constantly evolving and changing, and that's what makes it feel so complex. That's why it's so real, and I think that's why I continuously respond to it so strongly. I could talk about this book for hours, for days, for years, forever. I love it so much. It's a huge part of who I am as a person and as a writer, and surprising no one, I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars again. Then a couple of graphic novels that I requested through my library finally came through, so I read those. And the first is Lumberjanes Volume 1, Beware the Kitten Holy. This comic series is about a group of friends who are at an all-girls sleepaway camp, and sometimes they may have to deal with creatures that shouldn't exist, and a lot of the times they go on some crazy, unsupervised adventures. I have to say, after having read only one volume in this comic series, I am so in love with Lumberjanes, and I am 10,000% here for it all the way. I really love the positive, supportive, healthy group dynamic between this set of friends, and I love that they're all distinctive characters. They each have their own thing, and it was really great to see them interacting with one another. I just really felt like this first volume was so charming, and the story is well-rounded overall because it has a bit of everything. There is humor in spades, there's quirkiness, there's adventure, there's mystery, there are some kind of fantasy elements as well, and there's also ladies loving ladies. Mal and Molly are definitely one of the most important OTPs I have in my life as of this moment. I just really want good things for them, and only good things for them. So I can't wait to read Volume 2, but in the meantime, I gave Volume 1 4.5 out of 5 stars. Then I read Chew Volume 9 by John Layman and Rob Guillory. I don't think it's a secret that Chew is perhaps my favorite comic series of all time. Period. And I really don't have too much to say about this 9th volume besides the fact that this volume is all of the reasons why I love Chew, just collected into one place. This comic as well, I feel like, is well balanced and well rounded because it has so many different elements going for it. It's the perfect combination of imagination, fantasy, crime, thriller, horror, and humor. All of these disparate elements that really theoretically shouldn't work together are perfectly coalesced within this series, and that's why I think I respond to it so much. It's not necessarily about making sense, it's just about making a good story, and I think it's so well done. If I could use one word to describe the Chew series and really this 9th volume as well, it would be zany. That's exactly what this series is, that's what it strives for, and in that way, it really excels. This is an incredible comic series. I have such a great time reading every single volume and really picking over all the great details in every single panel. I think it's unforgettable. I think it's one of a kind. It's so much fun to read, but at the same time, it also progresses the story in a way that makes me want to know what happens next. Volume 10 is already waiting for me at my library. I can't wait to read it, but I gave Volume 9 5 out of 5 stars. I think you can tell that up until this point, I'd been having a tremendous reading month and really loving every single book I picked up, feeling very positive and enthusiastic about all of them, but that streak quickly came to an end with this next book. And that was Me Before You by Jojo Moyes. I really don't want to talk about this book. I really don't. I feel like most of you know what it's about. The main character, Louisa, is a quaint, quirky, personable young girl living in a small town, content to stay where she is, and then she accepts a job as an attendant for a quadriplegic man named Will, and the two of them start to somewhat develop kind of romantic feelings for one another, and it's not at all in any way okay. I only read this book because I heard it made a lot of people sad. I heard there was a lot of ugly crying involved, and as I said earlier in the video, I was chasing this feeling of pain and hurt, and I wanted to read things that made me sad, so I ended up ignoring a lot of red flags in the synopsis and went ahead and read it anyway, even though I felt like I shouldn't because I felt like I wouldn't enjoy it. And I really wish I had listened to that inner intuition, because now I'm full of regret. I just can't beat around the bush with this one. I have to say it. I think this story is complete trash. It's highly, highly problematic. It's incredibly trite, and I'm just disgusted that it even exists, that it has such a huge fandom. But more than that, I feel so gross for having participated in this, and that's something I can't undo, and that's something I hate. I really don't want to get into it because there's so much that I could say that I don't have the time or the patience to say, but this is your basic romanticization of disability, and that is not okay. This story is just one installment of many of an able-bodied person being inspired by a disabled person's situation and seeing how they live their life and how they have been affected by their disability, and saying, I'm so inspired now that I realize my responsibility as an able-bodied person to go out into the world and to do all the things that you can't do. Like, really? There are so many completely valid reasons as to why I detest this book, why I think it's disgusting, why I hate it for existing, why I feel so gross for having even read it, as I said, but I think it goes without saying that I gave this book 1 star, and even that I feel is much, much too generous. Moving on, you may be wondering what I did with the rest of my reading time, because that was not very many books, and even though February is the shortest month of the year, we did have that extra day. The rest of my reading time went into this behemoth, this book right here, A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara, which is not little at all. This is a really huge book, in case you didn't know that already, and it takes quite a lot of time to get through it, and I was really taking my time with it as well. So I spent a lot of my reading time in February also working through this book. I didn't finish it in February though, so I won't be talking about it in this video. I just thought it was important for you all to know that this happened. So for better or worse, those were all the books I read in February. In the comments down below, please let me know if you have read any of the books I mentioned in this video today, or feel free to let me know what you read in February, or even what you're currently reading these days. But that is everything I had for this wrap-up video today. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope that you enjoyed it, and I will catch you on the flip side of the page. Bye!